Welcome to the Global Home Inspector School Training Program Overview. This is an informational video on how to train to become a home inspector in the state of Georgia. I am Matt Fletcher there on the left. That's me there. That picture's 20 years old and my hair was still dark back then. My hair is gray now, just so you know. I'm a former high school construction trades teacher turned home inspector. And I've been a home inspector for over 26 years now. And a few years ago, I started my own Home Inspectors Association and training courses. And this is my sales pitch to try and get you to sign up for my course instead of somebody else's. Let's look at some of the benefits to being in the home inspection business. So there's a low barrier to entry compared to many other trades like being an electrician or an architect, which takes years and years. Training certification varies by state. Now, I checked just a few seconds ago on Georgia, and they do not have any laws pertaining to getting home inspection licensing as of yet. They do have some laws about having insurance, and you have to have a written report and things like that. You can Google it if you like. There's a little bit of information on it. But it varies by state. Now, here in Michigan, we don't have any laws where I'm at. We don't have any laws regarding home inspection as of yet in May of 2026. So you can basically complete our course and then start in the home inspection business. And if you have a construction background, that's always helpful. But people come into this industry from all walks of life. There's a low cost to get started in the business. So if you've already been in a trade, you have a truck and some ladders. That's probably some of the biggest expenses there are. You'll need maybe a plug tester and moisture meter and things like that. A lot of guys like to buy drones now. Our students complete our course usually in about 30 days. I believe there's 31, 2, or 3 lessons right now. So if you did one a day, you would be done in a month. Earning potential. So as long as people are buying and selling homes, you'll have work. People move an average of every 6.5 years now. This is the kind of work that cannot be offshored and it cannot be replaced by AI. In fact, a lot of people are looking at the trades more instead of going to college because of AI, automation, things like that. As far as earning potential goes, I did have some numbers in here and I took them out because they're all over the map. But just Google your state average income for a Georgia home inspector or whatever state you're in. And I looked at the numbers and they seem pretty accurate to me. So you can make a good solid living being a home inspector. That's why I never went back to teaching. The money was just too good. Flexible schedule. So you can make your own hours, turn down jobs or take all the jobs you want. You can work part-time or full-time at it. When I was teaching construction, I did home inspections part-time on the weekends, and then I had the summers off, because I was a teacher. And they eventually cut our building trades program, the school district did, and that's when I started doing home inspections full-time. So I was married, to my wife. I'm still married to her, and she has a good job as a nurse, and so I had benefits. So it just worked out well for me in that respect. And I've also been a serial real estate investor. We'll buy a house, fix it up and flip it, sell it or rent it or whatever. So, when I'm doing busy with a project like that, I can cut back on the inspections that I do. I cut back on my advertising, and then when I'm not busy, I go all in and do more inspections and increase my advertising. So let's talk about the training program. Like I said, I was a high school construction teacher. I actually have a master's degree in teaching and additional certification to teach construction trades in the state of Michigan. And this is my class here in the picture. And we built a real house each year. So we didn't do everything on the house. So we have a foundation contractor there, pouring the foundation. You can see the footing forms there on the left. And the contractor would talk to the kids about getting in whatever trade he was in, and that was part of the class. And some of the kids actually got apprenticeships with some of the guys. But I use a lot of these pictures to teach home inspection because they're so helpful. I took these pictures, for the kids back when I was teaching, and I would actually get those throwaway cameras at Walmart, and I would get the pictures printed and give them to the kids, and then I'd keep the CD. So I still have the CDs, and I use them to teach with now. So you'll learn a lot about how a house is built and put together and how to inspect it in our course. There's another picture from when I was teaching building trades. So this is a basement, and it's the basement floor will be poured over all this. This is the plumbing for the sanitary sewer. It goes out there, out toward the street. That is the sump pump, which is a separate system. That's what those trenches are for the sump pump drain lines. So you'll learn about things like that. Flooring system, that's us putting the flooring system down on top of the foundation. Here's another picture from building trades. So this is a front porch being poured. So that's where the front porch is going to be. That's the concrete being poured, and there's a vapor barrier up on the wall. The we call that OSB plywood, OSB oriented strand board. So they put a vapor barrier up on there now. They didn't always do that. That's one of the things that have changed in construction over the years, and I'll show you why. So this is a crawl space house. There's the front porch slab, okay? That's the rim joist that vapor barrier was up against, okay? This is not the same house. This is an old house. But you can see that it rotted out, and it's because that wood was against that wet concrete all the time. They didn't have it sealed here at the top of the concrete slab, and water got in there and rotted out the rim joist. See those little holes there? That's probably powder post beetles. And then that's the subfloor. So up here's where you walk on the floor up above. This is the subfloor, the plywood underneath, and it's rotted out from moisture over many years. So you'll learn about things like that in our course. Well, here's another crawl space pictures. Crawl spaces are a big deal around here in Detroit. So this is the crawl space entry. That's how you get in the crawl space. And you can't tell from this picture, but this is a funnel right here, basically. The grade was low and it tilted toward the house instead of away from the house. And then they had this downspout here dumping water right next to it. So thousands of gallons of water per year come down that downspout and go right in this crawl space. And here's what you might see in a crawl space. So they've done some renovation work on this house. They tore out part of the floor. This is the ceiling up above, and this is the ground down here, just to orient you. So they tore that subfloor out, and probably because it was rotten from moisture. And they didn't bother to clean the wood out from the crawl space. So now this wood is laying in this damp crawl space, getting wet, and it's rotting. You can see the water soaking up into it there, and all that water comes pouring in through here. And it rots, and it's like a dinner bell for wood destroying insects. They can smell that rotten wood and they're attracted to it, and they'll come into that house and eat it down. So we're going to teach you about things like that. This crawl space should probably have a sump pump in it. First of all, definitely have a vapor barrier, some visqueen down on the ground, and definitely all the wood in a crawl space should be removed because it will rot and, like I said, attract wood destroying insects. So you learn about things like that. Okay, so I'm not your only instructor. This guy here, that's Joe Vaglica, Vaglica, if you want to look him up. And Joe is a PE professional engineer, and Joe also has a PhD in engineering, and he's been teaching construction courses part-time at Macomb Community College, which is where I met him, taking some construction classes, and the University of Detroit, and at Wayne State University. Joe is actually the chair of the construction management program at Wayne State University. He helped develop the program, and he teaches several of the courses there. That's Joe again. So Joe's not only a professor, he's not one of these guys that's in the classroom all the time and doesn't have any real world experience. This is a subdivision that Joe built. Okay, Joe, him and his partner bought the land. They divided up the land into lots, and Joe designed the road and the sewer system underneath there, and several other civil engineering things that he did. and Joe owns Gateway Engineering in Shelby Township, Michigan. So between Joe and I, we have a lot of field experience and the book learning to teach you how to be a home inspector. So not only do you receive the home inspection training, you also get lessons on how to inspect small and medium-sized commercial buildings. So this is a commercial building here that we inspected. It's got a flat roof on it. So we have a lot of commercial buildings have flat roofs. So we have a whole separate lesson on flat roofs, what to look for, what goes wrong with them, and what to write up. We also go into public restrooms, restrooms in restaurants, commercial buildings, and parking lots. Commercial buildings have parking lots, of course. So we have a whole separate lesson on parking lots, what to look for, what to do, what to write up. And that's included for free, okay? That's included in our program for $450. Which is an outrageously low price for all this training. If you don't believe me, go check around. I invite you to do so. If you can find a better deal, take it. This is that same building. This is the flat roof I was talking about. So it was a restaurant, so it had these big exhaust vents on it. That's for the kitchen. We'll go into some of that with you. The HVAC system, that's a heating and cooling system that was on the roof. You can see that there. We teach you how to inspect those. See this roof? It's got some sinkholes in it. That's because it's rotten underneath. That's a pretty common issue on flat roofs. The parking lots, like I mentioned. So this is a different building here, but we'll teach you about parking lots. These are called bollards here. These are basically metal poles filled with concrete, and they are to protect that gas meter right there. You'll learn about drainage. We got a drain here. The signage on the pavement, like handicap and directional arrows, parking spaces, handicap parking, things like that. Of course, the condition of the surface, whether it's asphalt or concrete, whether it's cracked in good, fair, poor condition. Restrooms, like I mentioned, this is an ADA bathroom, American with with Disabilities Act. Supposed to be compliant with that, so you got to have a turning radius in the restroom for a wheelchair. The door has to be so many inches wide, and the sink has to meet certain criteria. Grab bars. So we'll go into that. Sewer scopes. So believe it or not, we include sewer scopes in our training. Other organizations, I forgot to say, it's other organizations for commercial training, some of them charge from anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, and they try to justify that price by saying, oh, you're going to make a lot more money doing commercial buildings, which is true, but it's not all that different from inspecting houses, in my view, at least small and medium-sized commercial buildings, okay? If you're talking about a 12-story apartment building, that's a whole different animal. But you get the training for the commercial properties and sewer scopes. So sewer scopes, I know other organizations charge, I think about $400 or $500 for that. We include it, no additional cost for the $450. So you get home inspection training, commercial building inspection training, and sewer scope training, all for that one price. Again, I encourage you to shop around, and if you can find a better deal, take it. And better instructors too. So I always tell people, if you're going to go in the home inspection business and you've done a few jobs and you like it and it looks like it's going to work out for you, one of the first add-ons, they call them in the business, you should start doing is sewer scopes. So when I started out, I referred it out to a guy who was allegedly a plumber. I don't know if he actually had a license or not, but he had a sewer camera. So I'd have him do them for me. And I watched him do them so many times, I thought, gee, I could do that. And you don't need a license here in Michigan to do a sewer scope. I don't know of any states that require that, just to scope a sewer. So I bought my own camera and I started doing them. And you can make an extra $15,000 to $25,000 a year doing sewer scopes. We charge about $175 here in the Detroit area. That's with an inspection, a home inspection. If it's a standalone inspection, usually about $250. And I know some guys in some cities like New York and Chicago get like $400 and $500 for a sewer scope. So the camera will pay for itself pretty quickly. So we have a whole big lesson on sewer scopes. There's, I think, 15 videos of us actually doing sewer scopes, and then there's a few dozen pictures. I think that's about a 6,000 word lesson, so that's about 15 or 20 pages in a textbook. So that's our sewer scope training. Let's take a look at our website. So all our training's online, and we are a post-secondary proprietary school in the state of Michigan. Okay, so we have a license to teach. This is our website. If you want to go ahead and enroll, you just click on the enroll button. We take credit cards and I believe Zelle and PayPal. So once you get enrolled, you go over to student access, you set up your ID and your password and all that. And there's a drop down menu and you go into my courses. And under my courses, here's what you see. There's a course introduction. So basically it tells you what I'm telling you right now. Okay. Just tells you what to expect and how the lessons and tests are laid out. All the lessons are in alphabetical order. Okay. So you can do them in any order you want, but they're in alphabetical order to make them easy to find. You have to get an 85 to pass, which is not hard to do. Rarely do we have someone not get an 85. And if you don't get an 85, you can retake the test. Okay, you just make some better notes and retake the test while it's fresh in your mind would be my advice to you. And you should be able to pass it. The tests are made up of true and false and multiple choice. And there's something called hotspots where we just show you a picture and there's a little dot on it and you have to hover over it and identify what it is. There's also 2 essay questions at the end of every quiz. So the first essay question, it's a bonus question, so you get extra credit for it. And it simply says, what did you think of the lesson? How do you think we could improve it? So if you have any suggestions, just put that in there. If you don't have any suggestions, put that in there, and you'll get your 1 point to help you pass. And then the second question is, for instance, this was a commercial roof quiz here. So the second question would say, okay, we just taught you about commercial roofs. Tell us how you would inspect a commercial roof. And you can do that by making a checklist as you read through the lesson. And you basically just repeat back to us what we just taught you. So we'll talk about those sinkholes that you saw in that picture, parapet walls, venting, HVAC, electrical. So just repeat back to us what we told you, and you'll get some writing practice because I know a lot of new home inspectors struggle with writing reports. That's a big hurdle for a lot of people if you're not used to writing. So you'll get a lot of practice in writing in our curriculum. Let's see, look at my notes here and see if I missed anything. That's about it. So I took this picture at a shed building contest. It was a high school, actually it was a state competition. So kids from all over the state come to this place and they give them a set of blueprints and some lumber in 8 hours and they have to build the shed or a deer blind or whatever it is. And I was a judge and this whole team from this high school showed up wearing these t-shirts and I loved them. The road to success is always under construction. So in other words, if you need to up your skills in the construction business. So learning new things is always good. You can always make more money. So maybe being a home inspector is one of the things you could do. If you've been in the construction industry for a long time, you have a lot of background knowledge. You can now share that with other people as a home inspector and make money doing it. And the home inspection business is a good way to make a living as a working alone. That's another thing that drew me to it, because my dad had a painting contracting business and you have to have a crew to make any money in the painting business. So we had a crew and, I worked for him for many years when I was going to school. And, but you got to have that crew. But being a home inspector is not like that. It's more like being an electrician where you could actually work alone, have your own van, work out of your house and make a pretty decent living doing it. So just wanted to mention that. So we are the Global Inspector Certification Association and School. We have our own school. If you have any questions, you can call me at that number there, 313-510-0284. Be glad to answer any questions you have. If you think I'm going to try and put the hard sell on you and you don't want to talk to me, I am not going to do that. But if you want to email us instead, you can email us at globalinspectionschool@gmail.com. We use Gmail for everything because you can send very big files with Gmail. That's my presentation. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to hear from you and have you as one of our students. I am Matt Fletcher. Thanks again.